If I say clan massacre, where do you think of? Forlorn mountain or weeping glen? Highland scenes that sing in sadness? You probably don't expect this. And you probably thought that these clansmen died at the hands of another clan. But I'm talking about the last English invasion. These men died for Scotland. If you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen. And if you enjoy the video, then like it, share it, and watch the next one. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. The central characters in this video are the McLeans of Duart. And yet, this video isn't about them. It's about the last English invasion of Scotland. The English invasion that created the Union. And there's a fact that most of you won't have seen coming. This is a video where you're going to have to strap yourselves in and stick it out till the end. Do you know who stuck it out? The McLeans. In the post-Reformation period where everything got just a wee bit messy, the McLeans were Episcopalian. You know, Protestant, but into bishops and that. You probably know that when Charles I tried to impose bishops in Scotland, it put the Episcopalian cat amongst the Presbyterian pigeons. The Anglican fox was in the Calvinist henhouse. The English lion was up in a stool bricking it, hiding from the moose loose about the hoose. Lions are scared of mice. A bunch of folks in Edinburgh responded by signing the National Covenant saying no to Charles. That started the Bishops' Wars that caused the English Civil Wars and wars across Scotland, England and Ireland. Now, during these Wars of the Three Kingdoms, there were a really complicated set of religious and national allegiances, and everybody switched sides at least once. But I'll tell you who was on the Covenanting side. The Campbells. You just knew that they would come up, didn't you? Now, Archibald Campbell of Lorne owned some debt owed by Sir Lachlan McLean, 18th Chief of Clan McLean, and he used this to put the squeeze in him to support the Covenanters' cause. Now, Covenanters were those Presbyterian, were no having Charles's bishops types, remember. Campbell even had McLean locked up on the pretext of his debt to pressure him, but McLean loyalty to the crown didn't waver. When he got out, he joined up with the Marquis of Montrose, Charles I's military man in Scotland, and they slaughtered the Campbells at the Battle of Inverkeithing. What I'm saying is, they supported the royalist cause as a matter of principle, but there was a personal edge to it as well. So, the hugely significant events that nobody talks about, but I'm going to tell you about today, encompass clan loyalty, religious and political principle, and the patriotic cause. Now, I normally only do clan stuff when it's attached to some wider story like this, and I was inspired to tell this story when my wife and I were up at Duart Castle in Mull with my mucker Joe McLean and his missus from Washington. It was a great visit. I had the privilege of meeting up with the current clan chief, Sir Lachlan McLean. He was better fun than he looks here. We played with guns, he told us stories, and we had a right good laugh. Now, I'll be taking a group to Duart Castle on my September big bumper tour of Scotland. You're too late to join up for this year's one, but I will be taking a group of up to 25 folks on my ultimate Jacobite tour of Scotland in April, and then my Highland tour in May, and then I'll have another big bumper birthday tour next September. If you'd like to join me on any one of these tours, staying in 4- and 5-star hotels with full board and me as your storyteller and guide, then click the link top right or in the description below, or email alexis@scotlandhistorytours.co.uk. By January 1650, Lachlan McLean is dead. Charles I has had his head chopped off, and their sons, Charles II and Hector McLean, are the guys that we're interested in now. The Scots were so appalled at the English executing Charles I that even the Covenanter guys have come round to support his son, Charles II. He was crowned at Scone. I've made a video about that. You should watch it. When Scots declared Charles II the new king, that regicidal maniac Oliver Cromwell, who'd already killed one Charles, headed north for another. So the start of what they call the Third English Civil War was actually the last English invasion of Scotland. So supporting Charles II is now a national cause, but a cause the McLeans had supported from start to finish. By the time Charles had been crowned at Scone on the 1st of January 1651, Cromwell and all his troops were already in Scotland. Now, the fact that they'd reached the Forth Clyde line was a reason that after generations of coronations at Holyrood or Stirling, this one happened in safety back where they were meant to take place, at Scone. By June, Scottish troops were gathering in Stirling. At the end of June, Cromwell came north, but Scottish forces blocked his way at the River Carron. After slaughtering the garrison in Falkirk's Callendar House, Cromwell headed back to Edinburgh looking for an alternative route. This was it. Now you see why we brought you to the bridges. Now, they had previously tried to cross the Firth of Forth to Fife, but the English commanders couldn't get their tongue round the instructions. They decided to try again, but this time, instead of calling it the Firth of Forth to Fife, they'd just call it an estuary. It worked. You see, that's how the English occupy through the back door, by taking away our language and getting us to speak like them. Well, didn't they? They crossed and landed on this rocky outcrop. On the 17th of July, the bulk of Cromwell's forces made a feint towards Stirling to hide the fact that they were making a landing here on the north shore of the Forth. Did they think our heads were buttoned up the back? The English had to land and get through the narrow isthmus that would get them out of the craggy peninsula out to open ground. And they had to get up a hill to do it. But if they got up Ferry Hill behind me, then they would have a strong position. Scottish troops were gathering down here at the base of Castleton Hill, opposite the English. Local levies based at Burnt Island, border moss troopers who had been the bane of the English harrying their journey north, and horsemen and infantry commanded by Major General James Holborn, who'd managed to escape the disastrous Battle of Dunbar 10 months earlier. We'll come back to him. The Scots were positioned here down on the slopes of Castleton Hill. They had 5 regiments of foot soldiers, musketeers and pikemen. Also a mix of regular cavalry with swords and pistols, and border moss troopers who probably had lances. The English were establishing themselves across on Ferry Hill, where we just came from, with broadly similar equipment. You can't get in there now, otherwise I would have used that to get a viewpoint, coming a panoramic view across here. But after a couple of days of getting their troops landed, the English opposite outnumbered the Scots. As I say, they also had musketeers, pikemen and cavalry. It's just that they had more of them and bigger horses. Normal tactics would be for pikemen to be in the centre, and the musketeers, it would be either side firing volleys to weaken and thin out the opposition before sending forward the pikemen. Cavalry would take each other on and hopefully tear in enemy foot soldiers on the flanks if they could. But for now, they just looked at each other. 4 or 5 ranks deep, 15-foot pikes and 4-foot muskets primed and waiting. The Scots didn't want to attack a stronger English force who had taken up the high ground of Ferry Hills. The English were still waiting to get more troops across from Lothian. When the English managed to land more horse, our man Holborn decided that maybe this wasn't the best place to take them on. But as he started to wheel his troops around here to head back to Dunfermline, the English thought, aha, they're on the run and we outnumber them. Get them, lads! As they followed the command to surge forward, Holborn stopped the wheel just below here and he set his men in battle formation. Then the two sides stared at each other again for an hour or two. Now at this point, it's worth pointing out that the McLeans under Hector McLean of Duart, remember them, they were on the right-hand side of the Scots army. Things finally started to happen when the English got word that the Scots had reinforcements on the way from Stirling. Don't! It was now or never. The English moved forward on their left, so the Scots cavalry charged towards them on the western side. They broke the English. Hurrah! But the problem was that they were just outnumbered by more men and bigger horses. So when English backup arrived, the Scots were driven back. It was the same on the Inverkeithing side. The Scots cavalry, after early successes, were driven back in disorder. There was a chance that the Scots infantry could have won the day, but for their leader Holborn, who I mentioned earlier. One chronicle says, hellish Holborn came not up, which if he had, the Scotch had carried it but doubt. The slimy wee rat. He'd seen things weren't going to plan and was leaving the field. No wonder he'd survived Dunbar intact. Now, to the left of me here is Pinkerton Burn. As Holborn scarpered, it left Hector McLean and his men to try to get across this open space to the west of it here. Let me show you where they sought refuge. Behind me was Petrevie Castle. Nowadays, it's been developed into multiple flats. I thought it was a care home, but the original house had been built by Henry Wardlaw 30 years before the battle that we are talking about. Now, the Wardlaw family must have been very protective of their new house, because when the McLeans got here to try and get some kind of defensible position, not only did the Wardlaws knock them in, they started pelting them with stones. The McLeans were on their own. Hector McLean, whose dad had stood for Charles I, now stood for Charles II and for Scotland. They had never wavered, although others had twisted and turned and flipped sides more times than a well-done pancake. What had started as a battle of ideas, of crown and state, of clan and church governance, was now the last stand in the final Anglo-Scottish War. Now, Gaelic tradition from centuries back was that royal children and those of clan chiefs would be fostered and brought up by a family close to the chief. This was an honour to the foster family and created a loyal bond, one that's probably no better demonstrated than at the close of this battle. Sir Hector and his encircled clansmen made their last stand. 7 of Hector's foster brothers stood by his side. As the English pressed towards him, a foster brother came forward to fend off the blows that might have ended Hector. When he succumbed, the next foster brother stepped forward, shouting, "Verela, Erson Yuchen!" Now, if the English had understood the Gaelic tongue, they would have heard, "Another one for Hector." When that man fell, the next foster brother took his place, calling, "Another for Hector." Each of the 7 brothers in turn took their turn, until Hector himself fell, alongside hundreds of his clansmen. It's because of these events that the McLean slogan became Ver eile hier son juchen. Another for Hector. Cromwell was able to take Perth, and Charles led the Scottish army south in an attempt to reach London. Cromwell's forces caught up with them, and the fight finally came to an end at the Battle of Worcester. On April 12th, 1654, Oliver Cromwell issued an ordinance for uniting Scotland into one Commonwealth with England, which was made into an Act of the Second Protectorate Parliament in 1657. The Scottish Parliament was dissolved and Scotland incorporated into the English Commonwealth. Whenever people talk about the Scotland-England Union, they think about 1707, not realising that was the second union. You see, when Charles II was restored to the English throne, he undid legislation enacted during the interregnum, releasing Scotland from that first union. And in the hurly-burly of recent political debate, the Union of 1657 tends to go unnoticed, as does the last English invasion of Scotland that led to it. People overlook this final battle of the Anglo-Scottish Wars on Scottish soil. The English see it as just part of the English Civil Wars, and Scots barely even realise it happened. The heroic role and the McLeans in that battle are lost, save for one clan's memory of itself. How many people pass this each day? They miss the memorial cairn to the McLeans and their chief Sir Hector. They don't even notice it's here. Why not stop and take a moment? Have a thought for the Scotsmen who made their last stand against the last English invasion. Of course, Cromwell's forces weren't quite finished in Scotland. This was the last battle. But there was further sieges to come when Dundee decided to hold out. If you want to know about that, then there's a video coming up on screen now. If you enjoyed this video, then like it and share it and watch the next one. Support the channel by clicking top right to become a Patreon member or buy me a coffee in the description below. In the meantime, Hammy and Dawkins can be a llama alive. Sherry and Rasta.